infrastructure officials about the Philippines' encouraging macroeconomic narrative and the Philippines' boldest infrastructure agenda to date, which we call Build, Build, Build. Today, we bring you here so that you can see for yourselves the action behind the rhetoric. For our program for today, we will have a welcome remarks from BCDA President Vince Dizon, and then we will be provided with presentations from MTD Philippines, from Architect Royal Pineda, and from Philinvest. After which, we will be having a tour of the construction site of Phase 1 of New Clark City. And then later on, and by noon, we will have our program at Marriott Hotel for a separate briefing on Clark Freeport Zone. And then we will have a tour of the airport projects there. So without further ado, let us start our program. May I call on BCDA President Vince Dizon to formally welcome all of us.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Good morning. First of all, on behalf of BCDA, MTD, Philinvest, Buji Royal, and all our other partners, we want to thank you for making the trip. I hope it was not... I hope EDSA was okay today. So it's really just EDSA naman eh. Diba? It's just EDSA, that's the problem getting here. I hope it was bearable for you, the traffic on EDSA. But you notice once you hit... the North Luzon Expressway, it's pretty much an hour, a little over an hour to get here. So, second of all, we want to thank all of you for bringing the perfect weather for today. So thank you. Thank you. We've been praying for good weather the past couple of months. You guys in the financial markets, I'm sure you have clients who are in land development and construction. And you know, the biggest enemy of development and construction is really bad weather. So, and unfortunately, this year has been a challenging year in terms of weather. Now, we've been pummeled by rains and typhoons since June. No, they've been coming in practically every week, and every day. And as you know, we were just hit by a very strong typhoon last weekend. But as I was telling the group yesterday at the BSP, actually, if you ask MTD and Philinvest and our partners here, Clark was not as badly affected, di ba, Nico? No, as you noticed, you don't see cranes on the ground and debris everywhere because the winds actually from Ompong were not as strong here as they were in the north. Actually, the winds in Metro Manila, which is further south, were actually stronger than they were here. And I think we have to thank the Americans who chose this site, because this is still part of the Clark zone during the time of the Americans, although it's still about 15 kilometers away from their airbase, which is where the airport and the Freeport is right now. It's still part of that area which was leased out to the Americans up until 1991. And if you notice, they chose really wisely because, first of all, we are at, right now we are at probably 65 meters above mean sea level. No? And if you look around you, we're surrounded by the mountain ranges of Zambales to the northwest, and the Sacobia mountain ranges to the southwest. No? So that really helps in mitigating the effects of these strong typhoons, which makes this area very disaster resilient. So what you see around you, and you'll see more of this as we go around later in the tour, is the first phase of New Clark City. We ground broke in this area on January 23 of this year. And you notice, and President Nico David of MTD, our PPP partner, will show you the pictures, but it has completely transformed in only 8 months. And the centerpiece of the first phase are these two facilities, the 20,000-seater IAAF certified athletic stadium And behind us, this massive aquatic center, of course, both designed by architect Royal Pineda. He'll talk more about the inspiration for these designs later on, for the Southeast Asian Games in December of next year. And as you probably read also in the papers, this area will also be the site which we will use to bid for the 2030 Asian Games. No, in a couple of years' time, after the SEA Games, we're going to be bidding for 2030 Asian Games. Also, to your left, this will be the first two government buildings that will be coming up. The designs are right there. No? Also designed by architect Pineda. And this is where the first few government agencies will move to in a little over a year's time. No? Mostly our disaster response and management agencies will be moving here. So this will be our satellite response center if, knock on wood, anything happens in Metro Manila. You know how disaster prone Metro Manila is with the fault line there, and obviously it's very low in terms of elevation. So if anything happens, we have a place to go to and run the disaster response from. Also, this area will be the site of the commercial center, initially to be built by, I think by Robinson's Land, although there are other parties that are interested. Robinson's Land will be building and operating for the commercial facilities for the SEA Games, the food, the F&B, some retail for the SEA Games. And then over there will be the housing area, the government housing and the athletes' village. So, I don't want to take up too much more of your time. I want to bring it right over to Nico and Chairman David. But before we go to them, I just wanted to show you a quick video, an overview of what to expect here at the first phase of New Clark City, the National Government Administrative Center, in the next year. No? And then later on, Mr. Francis Ceballos of Philinvest will also be talking about the Philinvest, the 288-hectare Philinvest development. That is just actually across that road that you passed over there, though. So you see those beautiful hills over there. That's all Philinvest area, and they will be building initially an industrial area and some residential and commercial facilities. So Francis will be talking about that later on. So let's cue the video so that we all get an overview. Again, thank you very much for coming, for making the trip. And hopefully you'll find this very insightful and very productive today. Thank you.
Thank you very much, BCDA President Dizon, for your welcome remarks and for showing us a video of exciting things to come here in New Clark City. Now, to deliver the first presentation, may I call on MTD Philippines President Nico David.
So, good morning. Thank you for bringing the good weather. As you know, typhoon just passed by a few days ago. So, in this area, typhoon comes and goes, but it doesn't affect us too much. You see, there's practically little stoppage or delays in the current construction. Anyway, before I start, I just want to remind everybody about the safety. As of yesterday, we've reached about 1.5 million man hours without accidents or stoppage. So we want to continue this. So that's why it might not be comfortable wearing the PPEs, the vests, the hard hats, but this is mandatory. We are inside the construction site. So with that, let's start. So we're doing the National Government Administrative Center, or NGAC, for Phase 1A. So this is located in the civic center of the New Clark City of a 9,450 hectare development. Next. So with respect to the map, this is how it looks like. So the actual Google Earth map. So next. So this is what we are developing, which will be delivered October 15, 2019. So we'll start at the top, the athletic stadium. We have an athletes village, residence. Then we have a 5-hectare river walkway park, 5 hectares. Then a commercial facility, the aquatic center, the government building, then the warm-up track. So for your perspective, you see the stadium on the upper left. So that's how it looks like, close to how the map looks like. Next. So here are some renders or artist impression on how it would look like after the construction. Okay, so as President Vince said, we started our groundbreaking January 23 of this year. Then Feb 1, we started clearing. Because we know rains are coming by June, so at our own risk, we started clearing the entire site. And if you can see, there's about a lot of equipment. At one time, we had about 200 heavy equipment running around this site on a 40-hectare property just to be ahead of the rains. Next. So March is our official start of construction. Now, this is our site development. So one of the features of New Clark City is a bike-friendly, pedestrian-friendly site development. We've separated the bike lane so that if you want to bike from your office to your residence, easier. Though we have wide roads, we want to minimize the use of vehicles. The New Clark City will also have DRTs and efficient public transport. So these are some videos as of August 1 and as you can see, the site development, the roads were finished 1 year ahead of schedule. Actually, the entire network was finished late May. Only a few portions left for the sidewalks that we're doing for the utilities. Okay, next. So here are some more pictures. Now, the aquatic center is a 2,000 seating capacity, FINA Olympic standard. So we can host world meets, world championships. This would be the first Olympic standard with a lot of the new FINA requirements for the aquatic center. So here are some perspective. Architect Royal will explain a little bit more later. So this is how it looks like a few weeks ago. And you can see how different it looks today. So if you can just go back a bit. One more. So the pool is actually there already. Let me just point it out. So we have here the actual swimming pool. Because of it's raining, it's actually there. So it's a year ahead of schedule. Okay, next. So these are some more pictures of what we've been doing for the past few weeks. So the athletic stadium is a 20,000 seating capacity. IAAF standards with a 9-lane Class 1, 1A track, competition track. Now, this would be the first certified track in a long, long time here in the Philippines. Next. So a few more renders. So this is how it looks like today. Now, so we've started putting on the bleachers. We don't stop working even though it's raining. As long as it's safe for our people to work, we will work. We have currently about 2,000 people working on site simultaneously, and it will grow to about 5,000 to 7,000 by the time we finish. Okay, next. So some of the works, aside from the 2,000, we have a lot of works that we are developing or precasting or constructing off-site. So we have steel members constructed in Manila, brought here on site and erected as we speak. So again, rain or shine, night and day, we're working. So next is the government building to your left. Currently, it's on the 3rd floor. This is a 28,000 square meter government office that can house approximately 3,000 employees. So this would be the integrated operations center for disaster recovery. So again, as President Vince mentioned, should there be any calamities in Metro Manila or anywhere, we can hold and command the rescue and recovery from this site. So some more pictures. Okay. Then we have the residence. Now this is more or less about 500 units, actually a little bit more than 500 units, that can cater to residents of the initial 40 hectares or 60 hectares development of New Clark City, NGAC. So this is how it looks like. Now, the Athletes Village will have about 500 units, can accommodate about 1,000 athletes. So we're employing a new technique or new technology where we're precasting the entire building from ground up. So what we're doing right now is board piling for the foundation. Then the footing, foundation, everything is being precasted in factories offsite and will be brought to this site within the next few days. Then the highlight is a 4.55 hectare river development. Now it stretches 1.4 kilometers. And these are some of the renders. Now this one would actually be part of our disaster resiliency. We have a 150 to 200 meters no-build zone. Literally nothing stands in there except for trees and a few rest areas. So that if the water swells up, in this area it goes up about 3.5 meters to 4 meters. It doesn't affect the city. It's only in the river. Now, if there's no rains, it's a good area to rest, relax, jog around after a strenuous, hard day's work. So this is how it's going. Okay, the last area is where we're standing right now, is the commercial development. Now, these are some perspectives that are to be finalized once we get our partner on board. But this will come up same time as the SEA Games. Okay. Now, I'll show you the drone video. This was taken September 13. We normally take a drone video because the site's too massive. You don't see much from the ground. A better view from the top. This is a stadium. We've completed the ground floor and started the bleacher sections. And prefabricated steel columns would be part of the second floor and the roofing. So what we don't see in the videos that we're doing right now is putting the drainage inside the tracks so that when it rains, it just seeps through the grass and out through the drainage facility. So that's one of the major activities inside. Don't worry, we'll go inside later. There's an area corded off that we can go in. For everybody's safety, let's remain within that area. So now this is the government building. In this video, we were still on the second floor. Now you can see that we're already working on the third floor. Now you can see on the left side is the road with some culverts or drainage pipes being placed along the entire section. Now the road's been there since end of May so that we can bring in and out materials. We can bring in rebars, prefabricated rebars, steels, prefabricated columns, steel columns, everything in and out. Now, this is the aquatic center. So this is behind us. Now, there's a, normally, if you come here every week, there's a vast difference on how the site looks like. So that's how big it is. But if you walk through it, probably take you 15 minutes to go around the entire area. Now, this is the River Walkway Park. We've redesigned it a couple of times to ensure we maintain the wildlife in the park. We've moved around a few of the developments, the arcades, the walkways, just to avoid moving trees around. We just found out when we were starting the development that there's a Philippine woodpecker here. Something I didn't knew before, that we had woodpeckers in the Philippines. Now, this area is our residences. So 5 buildings to cater to the people working in this area. So they've, on some areas, they're already on the 3rd floor, but all of them were off the ground already. Now, just behind them is the river park. So you can walk from the residence to the office in 5-10 minutes leisurely. No rush walking. Then if you want to have coffee, you can always stop by the commercial area. The last section would be the Athletes Village, where we're currently doing board pilings. So that is our National Government Administrative Center, Phase 1A. So thank you very much.
Thank you very much, MTD Philippines President Nico David. For our next presentation, to provide us with additional details about the project, may I call on Architect Royal Pineda.
Good morning to everybody. Good morning, President Vince, Chairman, Nico, and of course all the partners, Francis. Buji Royal is here to share with you a vision that we collaborated with, of course, all our partners, especially BCDA, the government, in doing this major task. And of course, as investment guys who are, also seeing the visions in the future that can really see a potential, of what is investment and what can be good for any future business. Well, the Clark is actually a vision of a modern Philippines. I was just in Taiwan last week, and they invited me to talk about Clark, the modern Philippine city. And I was actually surprised because they said, we've been hearing about it, and we would like to know what's happening in the Philippines. and they asked me about what is the modern Philippines. So it was something good because there's already that big question mark. And this is what we feel is very important in creating this project. What we would like to have is a city, not just a green city, but we would like to have an authentic city. And this is where we believe that the truthfulness of the approach in doing architecture and design and planning is very crucial. And this is where we found and discovered the process of working it out with nature. The design is actually inspired and coming from the roots of the Pinatubo volcano. Meaning to say, as a resilient nation, Filipinos, even when it's, there's typhoon, there's a volcano erupting, we still smile. We can smile and be very positive about it. And I think this is a perfect representation of our identity as Filipino because now we're thinking of changing the city and creating a fiber that will be a lahar concrete, glass, wood, and steel as a city. And when you read the entire city, the city will be created with a new fiber, which is lahar concrete, coming from, again, the Pinatubo ashes and the lahar itself. So part of this whole design process is we would like to really achieve this level of design, wherein we call it practical luxury. Why practical luxury? We would like to make this city be very practical and be luxurious by design. We are not a first world country. Basically, what we need to do is we need to know our resources, we need to understand what we have, and we need to express ourselves truthfully to reach that level of design and become a clear identity globally. So we're doing this not by importing imported products, but we're trying to design things very clearly and very authentic. Again, this is a very resilient city, as explained by our president and also Engineer Nico, that there will be features on the engineering that will make this city very resilient and adaptive also. Sustainable and green, I think we all know what sustainable and green is. We are working closely with the very best experts and consultants all over the world, and ACOM is part of it, Join and Surbana. The idea here is we just don't want to do another green city, and we don't want to be a victim of the copy-paste of the world. We want to make sure that we are designing a city that is Filipino and modern. So we are collaborating closely, and this is what the team of BCDA and us are trying to achieve. It will be innovative, permeable, and progressive. Permeability will happen because we're trying to make all our buildings very permeable. It will have airiness. It will have. We're trying to bring back the land to the people. If the cities in Manila, if you notice Makati and the old Manila, we always have the buildings sitting on the land, and they're the prominent ones. And then when you see the street, you only see a 1.5 meter pedestrian, and then it's the road again. What happens is the people are not the priority. Now, in this city, we will bring back the land to the people. The idea is to lift the buildings up and let the people walk through the land and see the expanse of every area of the land, and also let the ventilation flow.